So, good evening, teachers. Formally, a good evening to all of you, and a warm welcome to the second webinar that Oxford Advantage is conducting in association with Center. This webinar is again a topic, we are covering a topic which is of, I should say, timeless relevance to all of us as teachers. But before we get into the webinar, and also before I introduce our facilitator, let's keep in mind some of the housekeeping rules that we always convey to you. One, we have all been kept on mute and the cameras have been turned off. This is done so that we have the least disturbances and distractions. We are trying to maintain the best of connectivity at our end. Just in case something goes wrong at our end, we will let you know. So stay put and we will be back on air soon. In case you face any audio or video disturbances, it could be because of connectivity issue. I would suggest that you check connectivity whenever you have an audio video issue. And in case you find that there is an issue, you can always log out and log back in. This usually reduces the problem and you might get back into the session again. um, if you have any questions at any point, please put them on chat. Today, I have with me Bhanu Sharma and Shimpi Kalsi. They will be managing the chat, and all your questions that you're putting on the chat will be answered there. In case there are any questions that we could not take up during the session itself, please do put it at the end of the session, and our facilitator will answer them for you. All right. And also, one very important thing, at the end of the webinar, we will be sharing a feedback link with you. This is an important aspect of this webinar. So please take out about 5 minutes of your time to fill up this feedback form. Once you have submitted the feedback form, you will receive your soft copy of the certificate in your mailbox. Please check the email which you have used to register and join this webinar. You will receive the certificate in the inbox of the same email ID. Okay, so now it's time to reintroduce the facilitator for today. This is again Sudeepa Mandal, and all those of you who attended our first Center webinar for this academic year would be familiar with her. And it's a great, great pleasure to have Sudeepa once again back with us with the topic of developing HOTS through application, right? And I think I would repeat that this is a topic of timeless relevance. We can't say, it's not just of contemporary relevance. It's any time you will always need it to make sure that your students are learning well, right? And at all levels. So let me introduce Sudeepa to the ones who are joining us for the first time. Sudeepa is currently working as the manager for training and content with Kotak Education Foundation. But at heart, she is the teacher that she started off her career as, right? And Sudeepa has been working she has had an experience of almost 20 years in different areas of education. She has worked with the Nishtha project, and she has also been the author of content for NEET examination for biology, right? So she is very experienced. She has been handling education. She is not only a professional, but she also has a lot of human connect when it comes to education aspect. So Sudeepa, once again, welcome to our webinar, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Shalini. Is there any echo? Is there any echo?
No, you are clear. We
Thank
can
you.
hear you clearly.
Yeah. Good evening, teachers. Hearty welcome to the platform. Before I start, I'm really overwhelmed with the kind of responses that you have shared with us for the question content that we have shared. It was those of you who have not answered to. Let me remind you. Uh, we had shared content on English, math, and social sciences for the STEM humanities and history geography. That is this English, science, math, history, geography. That is EVS. Also, you can consider for science. We had considered a few content and we had asked you to create questions uh, based, not questions, actually the learning outcomes at the different levels. We had referred you to create the learning outcomes for the first three levels. And today, what we are going to do is an extension to what we have done in our previous content. As you can see, the topic, and Shalini has already introduced, developing HOTS through application. It's a very silly question, but still, just to build in the rapport, I would wish if each one of you can write down what does HOTS stand for in our chat box, and let's start in with a good momentum. So my first question to you, much before we start the session, is what is HOTS? Can you please write it down in the chat box?
Sudeepa, while the teachers are answering, is there any possibility of adjusting the audio? There seems to be a little variation,
No,
in the audio.
I'm not actually. I hear a lot of echo. That's the reason why I said that. Are you hearing it?
We are not able to hear any echo as such. Shimpi, kindly confirm. Is there any echo that you're hearing?
No, it's absolutely clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
please continue.
At my end, there's a lot of echo actually. I can hear my ears twice. Maybe some trouble from my end.
The answers have started
Yeah, I can
pouring in.
see that. Thank you so much. Yes. See, teachers teaching learning webinars are always a place where we get to learn more than we can share. And it is always a brainstorming. It's not that we will not know. But at that very moment, we may not remember certain things. So it's always good that we learn from others. So sometimes I may ask you questions which your colleagues will know, which your friends will know, the participants in the session should know. So your eye on the chat box will be very supportive if you can get an access. Otherwise, I will just try to like to read the questions. It is higher order thinking skills. That's most of the participants are writing. So, welcome to the session on higher order thinking skills. We have just started with the recap. We'll go have a deep dive into what are HOTS. How, as a teacher or as a content creator, are you going to develop the higher order thinking skills throughout your lesson that you are teaching? So, when we had discussed the previous session, you must be remembering that we had discussed about constructive alignment. Your duty as a teacher starts much beyond the class. It starts with your creating the learning outcomes. So, first, when you create the learning outcomes. Second, when you align the classroom activities uh, with the learning outcomes. Third, when you assess how much your student has learned through the assessments, formative assessment or summative assessment, throughout the process, the higher order thinking skills should be weaved in. So, uh, when we say that it's a higher order thinking skill, we do not actually avoid saying the lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy. We never can do that because when you climb up the steps, you are supposed to climb from the bottom and go gradually. Therefore, I'm putting a very simple question to name two skills that we focus on while grooming our students. How are you going to respond to this answer? If you can see the answering format says, if you are a pre-primary educator, you will write pre-primary, PP dash and the answer. If you are a primary, just write P dash and the answer. And if you are a secondary, write down S dash and the answer. So I have asked, name two skills or mention two skills that you focus on while grooming your students. It can be topic wise, it can be Okay, I can read out the answers: learning and speaking, communication. Just write, don't write PP. It's PP dash the skills that you see in your child, in your student. Listening and communication, pronunciation, learning and communication, reading, writing skills, thinking and listening, creativity, okay, interaction, language and social skills, fine motor skills, critical thinking, written and oral. Thank you so much. I have got enough and more answers to start the session with. Thank you so much once again as we proceed. Now, the next question, we have already done the assessment and we have come across the bottom three, that lots, lower order thinking skills. Now, the question is, state the higher order cognitive domains. I think you remember what are cognitive domains. We have done that in detail in our previous session. Question is, state the higher levels of cognitive domain. This is your second question for the session today. What are the higher orders? That is the HOTS. Evaluate. Okay, I've started getting answers. Yeah, I'm waiting for the yes. Creative. Create. Yes. Understand is not a HOTS. It's a lots. Evaluate. Critical thinking. Critical thinking is a skill. Evaluate. Yes. Analyzing. So analyze. Yeah. Analyze, evaluate, create. I have got an answer from a teacher who has given me all the three. And with that, I start with today's session. So, teachers, remember, understand, and apply are the lots. That is a lower order thinking skills. These are called the lower order thinking skills because the foundation is built from the previous knowledge, what the child already knows. When we talk of analyze, evaluate, create, they are the higher order thinking skills or the HOTS because you are building your child's holistic development through a particular topic, whatever subject that may be, based on this. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Is what we are going to discuss today. Yes. So let's start. All of you can see an image in your screen. The image is about motorcycle, right? Yes, all of you? Yes, all of you have studied that, irrespective of whether you're a maths teacher, history, geography, EVS, English, Hindi, or whatever. Now, there are two teachers, okay? On the right hand side, you can see the two teachers. See the one in pink and yellow, and the other one in red and blue. So, these two teachers have two different approaches. Yes. So, the first approach is teacher takes the textbook, teacher explains the topic, but the teacher explains the topic very well. Okay. Now, that what do the students do? The students learn the different stages of water cycle, what is evaporation, what is condensation, precipitation, how does the cycle keep on going and keep on supplying us with the natural source of water, that is rain. And the students memorize it, they do the question and answers, they submit their notebooks, teachers correct their notebooks, and the teacher evaluates whatever they have written. This is approach one. Now come to the second approach. Much before the teacher starts with the class, the teacher throws a question to the student. Imagine a world without water. What would happen to living things? How might humans adapt? What do the students do? Analyze the importance of water in life, explore the potential consequences of what will happen when there is no water. They brainstorm, they innovate solutions that how can they come and resolve the problems related to water. They consider the interconnectedness of water cycle with one system that has an impact on the society. Therefore, you can understand there is a real life connection that is being built in. So my very clear and simple question is, write in the chat box, which approach do you think is correct? Okay, some teacher has beautifully written the answer. I'm the second teacher.
Uh,
Approach to second one. Yeah, of course. Of course, why not? So my question
Sudeepa,
is,
Sudeep, your voice is echoing.
yeah, that's
Uh,
what I told.
yeah, now it has really started too much. So can
Yeah,
we
so
just have
should I exit once?
Shalini? What do you say?
We can try that because right now we can hear your voice echoing a lot.
Yeah,
Not
now
a
it's
lot,
even
but then yes,
breaking.
it is echoing. Teachers, kindly bear with us as we get this technical glitch corrected. Many of you have written approach 2 as your approach for this, towards teaching. Why do you think the approach 2 is a better approach? Why don't you start answering that in the chat? Why is the second approach a better approach? I didn't see anybody write approach 1. Namita ma'am says both approaches. Impressive, Namita ma'am. Please give us an idea of why you think both approaches are good. The others who have written approach 2 would love to know why you thought the second approach is a better approach.
Yeah. Shalini, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Is it better now, teachers?
Yes,
If you
yes,
can just
yes.
write that down.
It is better.
Okay, thank you so much.
Shimpi, it's
Yes,
better,
so
right,
because
Shimpi?
it is easy to introduce the topic, analyze and evaluate, since it engages the students more, brainstorming. Second approach makes the learner broaden the vista of thinking. Yeah, thank you so much, because the second approach is related with fact situation. Thank you so much. These are brilliant answers that are coming up, and this is what we had actually expected, that taking the second route, that is a second approach, would be better. See, when we have grown up as teachers, probably our teachers would have taken a way of the first approach. That is possible. Unfortunately, there are many teachers even now who take the first approach, but taking the second approach is better, is a suggestion. We are not saying that the person who has taken the first approach is doing anything wrong. But if you really want to align your teaching, learning, or your classroom with the 21st century needs, what does the 21st century need? It requires skill development. It is a very simple word with a huge vista of work. Skill development starts in the school. And when we say skill development, are you able to align them with communication? Where, when you ask them a lot of questions, they think, okay, cognitively, you are disturbing them. Cognitively, you are bringing them from a zone of passively accepting or absorbing what the teacher says. My teacher says these are the steps of the water cycle. My teacher read the story out. My teacher did these questions in the on the blackboard and I have copied it. That was what we used to do when we were students. Now the approach has to have a shift, complete shift for the 21st century job readiness, or what we call as future readiness. They need to think, they need to communicate, they need to comprehend. Okay, if my teacher is asking me this question and I'm thinking it in my mother tongue, do I need to frame a sentence in English and tell the answer to my teacher? The answer has never been mentioned by the teacher, is what is required. Second is, it emphasizes on the critical approach. What if water is not there? What if there is, scarcity of water? What if there is no electricity tomorrow? This what if you keep on asking them in the Socratic method and don't give the answer, That's where you are building in the critical thinking aspect of the students. If you directly tell them that, see, there will be no water, there will be water cut, what will happen? They will say, after a point in time, we will all stop surviving. That's not how the approach should be. You have to keep on questioning them, and that's where you are building in the learning skills, the social skills. Some of you have written it's connecting with the real life connection. That's where you have to, bring the class into. And therefore we all have concluded and we all have agreed upon that the second approach is a better approach. Now, coming to then what are HOTS? It's all of you have already responded. HOTS are the thinking skills, that is the higher order thinking skills that refer to the ability to think critically, analyze complex situations, solve problems, and make decisions based on a higher level cognitive process. HOTS are essential for students as they prepare for real world challenges that require them to apply their knowledge in complex, unpredictable situations. So, when the teacher questions, what if this is not given to you? What will be your plan B? Is where you are bringing the child to think. These skills often develop through the activities that encourage inquiry, decision, hands on problem solving. These are words that are always in, and when you follow the lesson plan that you create or you're provided with, you will always find these kind of words. And that's because gradually the curriculum, gradually the need of tomorrow's world, future ready world, aligns us with this pathway. Therefore, we have brought in these words. Now, moving forward is what are the key components of HOTS? What do you want to actually do when we teach HOTS? It's analysis, evaluation, creation, synthesis, problem solving, critical thinking, and reflection. These are words which you very well know, and I'm not going into the detailed, description of what it is. But I would urge that all of you take a screenshot of this, because as we move forward, you will have to do a few activities which will require these words for you to think. Okay, so it's analysis, evaluation, creation, synthesis, problem solving, critical critical thinking, and reflection. So these are the larger parts of what we are actually going to do through the session. I hope you more or less have taken a screenshot of this. I can see teachers giving thumbs up, and I proceed. Now, it is that how are you going to develop HOTS, higher order thinking skills, like I said, in the constructive alignment framework, starting from creating the learning outcomes, aligning classroom activities, and doing the assessment. In all the three stages of the triangle that I had discussed in my previous session, how are you going to bring the HOTS? So, the first step starts with identifying the learning objectives, or even breaking it down into the granular form. That is, what are the learning outcomes that you are expecting from a particular topic. Then you have to understand the Bloom's taxonomy. And when I say Bloom's taxonomy, I go down specifically to the action words that we always have been using in our previous session. And as a teacher, you use these words to create learning outcomes. You have to analyze the content. What is there in the content today? Is it something related to critical thinking? If not, how am I going to make it critical thinking? If the content has already got a lot of questions in it, like for example, a demonstration, like for example, an experiment, like for example, sums that have not been solved, like for example, writing a summary or writing a critical appreciation, these are places where you allow the child to think. The textbooks allows you to do that. But suppose there is a content which has the topic in the form of information. How will you make it interactive? How will you make it interesting? Because after a point of 10-15 minutes, the students will lose that connect with the class and they will be in their own world. That's not what we are expecting. So you have to analyze the content and see how you are going to make it interesting. You have to have a thought process on that. Formulate questions, use the question stems, implement and assess, provide a lot of scaffolding, and reflect and improve. Please take a screenshot of this, because in the process moving ahead, we'll be discussing on these 8 steps one by one. Okay. Now, when I said identifying the learning outcomes, you have already done that, and I have already appreciated you that you have done it well. However, it's a never-ending process. All the time, whenever we talk of learning outcomes, we have a Bible with us, the cognitive action words from Bloom. If you follow that, if you follow something else, you may use that. You have to align with the standards and ensure the questions align with the curriculum standards. So you have to understand the type of curriculum or the type of content that you have, and identify the learning objectives or the learning outcome. What is my student going to learn? What is my student's takeaway after a particular topic? Second is, how are you going to bring in very focused words from Bloom's taxonomy, that is, action words from Bloom's taxonomy, and connect it with step 1. We are always aiming towards smart learning outcomes. Do you remember the acronym SMART? SMART. Let me have a quick check in the checkbox. What is SMART? What's the full form of SMART? It's an acronym which we always use as teachers. If you remember, kindly write it down in the chat box. I'll wait for a couple of minutes. What's the full form of SMART? If you can keep on, what's the full form of SMART? If you can keep on writing that. Short, measurable? No, it's measurable. It's not short. What's S for? S stands for specific. You remember SMART? Achievable. Yes, I have got one. Specific. Thank you so much. I have got specific. I have got measurable. I have got achievable. What is R? What is R? Relevant and time bound. Thank you so much. Some teacher has given me the complete answer. Thank you so much. So the SMART has to come here. If you remember, we have done it in the last session that the SMART word is going to be very important for you. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That's what makes your outcomes measurable, and that's what is going to drive your class. So understanding Bloom's taxonomy and identifying the learning outcomes or the learning objectives are the first 2 parts, and they are intertwined. Okay. Now, as a teacher, it is very important, and we all do that, we understand our class very well. If you have a class of 30 or 40 students, and if some neighboring class teacher who has never taught your class asks you, can you give me something for the Independence Day who can speak very well? Can you give me something who has got a good handwriting? Or can you suggest some name who can be very good with, story writing or story narration? You will immediately point out, okay, this boy, okay, this girl, okay, that person. So you know the demographics, you know their strength, you also know their weaknesses. Therefore, developing the skill, what skill? Higher order thinking skill, what you are going to bring in is a matter that you can decide on a fraction of second. That my students are extremely good with critical thinking. Why don't I develop the communication skill so that whatever they are thinking, they are able to comprehend that in complete, correct, meaningful sentences? So you may focus on communication skill. Some student is not able to pronounce well, or a group of students, they are very good with their thinking abilities, they are able to write very well. However, when it comes to the oratory skills, you see that they are thinking, but they are thinking and they are writing. Somehow it is not aligning. Two skills are not aligning. That means there is a gap in that particular place. You may find that a group of students, they don't come together and play. They don't come together and work as a group. Active learning strategies or small group strategies are not working in your class. Though you have always been unbiased, though they always smile at each other, they celebrate birthdays together, but when it comes to real actionables, they always fight. They say, this is my duty, that's your duty, you should not come and enter my territory. That's where you are finding that classroom activities are becoming a challenge. Is it that you are going to design separate activities, or you are going to bring them all together and do some collaborative activities? What skill you are going to bring in can be decided by you, one, can be decided by the topic, number two. Okay, so both the things can be done. So analyze the topic very well, and you can build in what you are going to give to your students or what you are going to assess. Also, you can decide to bring in, to plug in some skills that you want your students to develop on. So look at the areas that require deeper understanding and critical thinking. Now, this is extremely important. Kindly take a screenshot of this. Formulating question. See, the final goal of a teacher, like you said, is measurable. If I'm teaching something and I look at the children understanding, okay, I'm very happy for a point of time that my students are able to understand. I can see from their smiling faces, they raise up their hands and they answer. But are they able to comprehend that? Are they able to write that in the type of answers that I expect? Okay, so that may become a challenge. So how are you going to formulate the question is something very important for you, and that's where we'll bring in the measurable outcomes for your students. So what can you do? For analyze level, you can use the action was like compare and contrast. How do these two views of the speakers differ in their approach? When you are talking about two characters in a story, you are going on speaking as an English teacher, you are going on speaking as a Hindi teacher. Okay, but the child is thinking, the child is actually processing that, and the child draws an image of those two speakers in front of their eyes. Now, if you ask all of a sudden that what do you think are the differences in the attitudes, in the characters, in the setup of the mindsets of the two people, that is where you are bringing in the critical thinking, and when they answer, you are building in the communication skills. So the word compare and contrast becomes very important for you. Cause and effect become very important for you. Classify. When you ask them to classify, they bring in their mind clear distinction, the distinction which you have not told while you are teaching them. You have just given two examples. See, this is a mushroom, this is a green plant. What do you think are the differences? You have given them two examples only. Now they observe, now they think, now they research, and they bring down in their mind that these can be the differences. So, if these are the differences, their functions will appear differently. So, how should I answer? I should answer that a mushroom is colorless because it does not have chlorophyll. A leaf is green in color because it has chlorophyll. A mushroom, because it is chlorophyll, it is devoid of chlorophyll. It will not be able to have photosynthesis, while the green plant will be able to. Therefore, can I call the green plant as autotrophic, and can I call the mushroom as heterotrophic? So you are making the child think when you are asking these type of questions like compare and contrast, cause and effect, classify. Now, coming to the next part, exactly in the same way, while you are going to the evaluate level, you are giving them the autonomy to think and give their own viewpoints, the viewpoints that are not yours. You have never told them that this is a good man, that is a bad man. The shopkeeper was tricky, the beggar was poor. Just based on the description that you have given, you have asked them to critic, to be a critic. You have asked them to justify why this is right, why that is wrong. It is a child's own imagination that you are building. It is the child's own writing skills, comprehension skills that you are building. It should never come from you. Your duty lies in just creating these words in your learning outcomes, bringing in this type of questions while you are doing your classroom activities. Okay, now coming to the highest level, which is very difficult actually to achieve. However, with smart teachers like you can always do that. Can you ask them to design an experiment? See, for a science or EVS textbook, you will get to see a lot of experiment. Especially when you do theme-based pedagogies, I believe some of the schools or many of the schools must be doing the theme-based pedagogies. If you are doing theme-based pedagogy, you have to give them the autonomy to design their own experiment. Okay, you will not align it that in your textbook there are these 4 experiments, follow this and perform this, duplicate this. No, they have to design their own experiment. Like I said, that if there is no sunshine, if there is no photosynthesis, what will happen? So if they have to show this through an experiment, it is going to be their own creativity, it is going to be their own imagination. Whatever you have thought, they are going to build on that. That's a create level. Creating something means totally the own idea. What most of the students think is creating means we will copy from the YouTube or we will copy from Wikipedia and show the model to the teacher. That's not creating. Creating is the person's own. You can ask them to construct. How can you construct a model to demonstrate? That's a child's own. Can you ask? They do it themselves. Correct. Monica ma'am has written they do it themselves. That's very true. Invent. What new approach can you propose for solving? For example, there's a lot of water scarcity in some of the states of our country only. Okay, and there's a lot of fight happening in those places. They often watch in the movies, they read about them, they see that in the news, coming up news. So what can be one strategy wherein we can use water differently? Like for example, places like Dubai and all, how nicely they are surviving with they are desalinating the water. Have the students read about that? Have they constructed something new in their minds? That's where is the create level, completely their own achievement, right? So formulating question is what a teacher has to invest a lot of time on, and this actually comes directly from your learning outcomes that you create for the 3 levels. Yes, Poonam ma'am has written rainwater collection. Yes, but how are they going to do it differently from what the state governments are doing? Yes, thank you so much. Now, using question stems. So, when you create the question, you can use this kind of phrases which are called the question stems. What evidences can you find? See, you are building in the investigation skills or the inquiry skills in your students. What evidences can you find? How would you explain something has happened? How would you explain? What are the components of when it comes to analyze? When it comes to evaluate, like I said, you are giving them the autonomy to share, and there is no correct and wrong answer in case of evaluation. Do you agree with? The child might not agree. A situation like, for example, in an English story, a murder or a theft has happened. Some people may say that the thief had stolen because it had to survive, survival of the fittest. What would it otherwise do? But the second child may say he could have done something else. He could have done some kind of labor. He could have gone to people's houses and worked as a domestic help. He didn't do that. He tried to find out shortcuts and brought in theft. So there can be different connotations, different answers, different responses, and that's where you are bringing in the investigation and evaluation skills. How would you justify? It varies from child to child. Yes, of course, it varies from child to child. Can't we get categorized justification under analyzing STEM? Why can't we? Yes, of course you can. Why can't we? Bringing in negative answers to make them think when you already know that this thing will not happen, still you are questioning the child on why can't we. This is also an interesting thing. These are few examples, teacher, you can add on, because there are so many topics and there will be so many conditions and situations under which you will create the learning outcomes and the learning activities. So you have to think through what you are going to do to make your child think on the particular things. Creating stems, can you create a, what would happen if, how would you improve? So these are the kinds of question stems that you can use while you are developing the HOTS question or formulating the HOTS questions. Now, implementing and assessing may become some thoughtful step for you. So, first, when you suppose from tomorrow, from Monday onwards only, no, not Monday, maybe Rakhi Purnima, and after that, maybe from Tuesday, you think, let me start with the new topic with the higher order thinking skills, because much has been done on the lots. The lower order has been done this year. Let me start with some higher order. So let me give them the space to think, space to create, space to judge, space to speak, communicate, collaborate. So what you did is you created your learning outcomes, you created your classroom activities, and you started the formulated the question and you took it to the class already. A 21st century teacher, you may get a setback. Your students may not be in a position to answer them all right. Your class may not be going at the same momentum, or it may not be going with the same enthusiasm. Because when you create something new and take it to the audience, when you take it to the students, you have not made them ready. Until and unless the class becomes super active, the class becomes superbly filled with activities that are interesting to the students, you may feel that if they are not able to answer, they may become a little quiet, they may become a little scared. So what you have to do without getting demotivated that it is not working and I'm not going to continue, it's not like that. You have to do a pilot testing. So test the questions, test the activities, test the learning outcomes and see what happens. If you see it's going on very well and you have achieved whatever you want to, go ahead with that. If not, then let us come down, let us make it little bit easier, and we take them. Maybe in the first go along with the lots, I use analyze. Maybe the next month I use lots plus analyze plus evaluate. Maybe by the end of the year, I use lots, analyze, evaluate, and create. It's all on the demographics, it's all on the child. Like rightly, some teachers were commenting, it's on the student, it's on the learner, how they accept. Okay, so when you come to, suppose for example, implementing and assessing, that's where I am sensitizing you. You may face a setback, but don't get demotivated. Come back to your drawing board and make it little easier. Now you have to provide scaffolding. So when you are taking HOTS to your classroom, like I said, that you may face a little bit of challenge. What you have to do is, suppose if I ask, can you justify the end of this story? Is it right or is it wrong? You may bring in some more examples which we call as cues. So you may bring in example. Now think about what happened at that time. Do you think it was right? Do you think it was wrong? Why do you think it was right? You may bring in a group activity like a jigsaw puzzle activity, or some other active learning strategies where students they can brainstorm and come up with a solution. Okay, so that kind of scaffolding with many questions which will bring them to the solution should be your approach. Also, you break down the complex thing into simple things. So let us do this step 1 and step 2 today. We will continue with step 3 and step 4 the next day. That can be your approach. Also, where I was coming from while I said scaffolding is you will require a lot more of scaffolding. when if you have slow learners or students with special needs in your class, you may need to bring in some additional aspects where they feel it easy and they feel it interesting. So scaffolding is going to you know play a very important role. So you as a teacher, you have to be ready with what are the parts that I can break in this particular learning outcome. Now as a teacher, as a learner, as an educator, we are always going on refining our product. We are always going on reflecting, and there is a continuous scope of developing and improving on our content. So we should always remain motivated, because finally at the end of the day, we are instrumental for what we are trying to achieve, right? We have created the learning outcome, so it's in our hand. How much time should I give, or how much should I reflect, or what should I reflect on for a continuous improvement? And I believe you all will be able to do. Now let's start with this very funny activity. You all know this story, I believe. Okay, can you write down the name of the story? You can see here. I'll take a few shares, and then maybe uh, we'll go to the actual activity. This is your, you have listened to me for a long time. So this is your break. What is the story? You can see two heroes in the story. Yes, Hare and the tortoise. Yes, thank you so much. So it's a story that is not coming actually for from that English textbook. It's a story from what we have all learned a lot. This has real life connections to it. Now I'm not going to tell you the story now. I'll just give you 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, one, two, three, four, five, six, there are six pictures. And these six pictures make up a story. And you know this story very well. So if you are writing, for example, one, just write one and put a dash and write what is this happening? What's happening in this first image? So we have to make a sequence of the stories. So you have to write down one, put a dash, and write the answer. What's happening in this image? I do not want the moral of the story. I want what is happening in image one. What is the situation? This is situational analysis. What is happening in situation one? Just put one, put a dash, and write the answer. What's happening? But you have to write down the number, otherwise, it will be very difficult. One is conversation, one is ready for the race, one is they are discussing, talking to each other, planning to have a race. Yeah, thank you so much. That's it. Now come to number two. So they are planning for a race. Yes. Second is number two. Number two. See, look at the question. Write one statement to create the story. Look at the state. Number two is ready for the race. Yes, they are standing at the starting point and they're ready for the race. Yes. Now come to number three. Number three. Can we go to number three now? They both agreed to start a race. Racing. Yeah, number three is they are racing. Is it they are racing? Does number three's image show you they're racing? Yeah, it's true. But can we write something more? Can you analyze the eyes of the hare and think of something more? Can you see the condition of the tortoise? Do you think something else? First, the hare is heading. The hare is happy. The hare is confident. Rabbit 3, the race is on. The hare think he will get ahead. Happily leading. Okay. Confident and looks like a winner. Okay. Very nice. Thank you. Now come to number 4. Come to number 4. Number 4. Realization. Number 4 is overconfident. Number 4 is taking advantage of the opportunity. Wow. The hare is sleeping, but the tortoise is confident and thus slept. Yeah. So the hare is confident and the hare slept. He took advantage of the opportunity. He started sleeping. He became overconfident and he started sleeping. Number 5. Come to number 5. Tortoise won the race. Yes, of course. Slow and steady wins the race. Who's faster? Won the game. Yes. Yes. Anything else that you can see? Look at the image very well. Look at the two heroes of the story. Can you make it a little bit more explanatory? Are they both, I'm just trying to help you with, are they both on the same line? What can be the expression? What can be the feeling of the hare? Tortoise, I can understand. It's a overwhelming win for him, building confidence by winning. Won the race. The tortoise has won the race. Disappointed. Yes. Who is disappointed? The hare is disappointed. Yeah, very nice. Now coming to the last is the last image, number 6. Yeah. It's left behind. Rabbit. The hare looks disappointed. Now come to the next one. That is the 6th one. Hare was shocked. Somebody has written. Again, they became friends. Congratulate the tortoise. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we'll stop writing now in the chat box and let me come what all I have done. So I have given you only images and I have made you think. Okay, I had not written any word other than a few words like start and all that was written. You have brought in the answers just by looking at the expressions of the hare and the tortoise. This is what is building in when you are not able to, when a student is not able to give the answer that is going to align progressively. At that time, what I started giving you is the cues. I started giving you prompts. Look at the two heroes. What more can you write? What the prompts that I was trying to give. As a teacher, you can give even more prompts because you want them to align them towards the outcome. Thank you so much for this activity. Now, all of you know this story, but what I now want you to analyze is you have to take your student to think about the 3 hots. So the question will now not be who are the two heroes of the story, what is the moral of the story, what do you think the hare must have, what the tortoise must have felt, are not going to be the question now. They are all Lot's question. Now the question is, if suppose the hare was very proud of his speed and often boasted about it, then your question to the student will be, what do you think about the character of the hare? What do you think was the approach of the hare? Do you think the hare was humble enough? Why don't you think the hare was humble enough to the tortoise? These type of questions, justification, critique, write down the character sketch of the hare will be your question, not identification. You will not use the words that has already been used for the lots. Now look at this yellow line. I may not be as fast as you, but I believe I can beat you in the race, said the tortoise. What type of character of the tortoise or what type of spirit does it show? This is what your students will write. And remember, because you are allowing the autonomy to the student, You cannot say, no, I don't agree to this. Because there is enough scope for the child to write whatever the child feels. This is the beauty of higher order thinking skills. When you are allowing them to write to their imagination, comprehend whatever they are thinking, you can give them enough scope. They can become very harsh at times, they can become soft at times, they will become neutral. This is good, but that is also better. That is better. So they may not give you whatever answers are given, as long as they align with the moral of the story, or as long they align with what your outcomes are going to be. You may tweak your uh, expectations. Now, similarly, I have brought in these few yellow underlined words, highlighted words, which are going to be the highlights for the higher order thinking skills in the student. Okay, so character sketch. What, the hare could not believe his eyes. How could I lose to the slow tortoise? So this is where you are bringing in the real life connect. That pride is not going to be very good. So you may ask them a story. Have you ever seen what happens to the people who have a lot of pride, who have a lot of ego? They may write something on that. Why is pride not good? Can they bring in the example and create their own story? Can you also ask the students to recreate the ending, to make the new ending of the story? Why has it always to be what an author or a writer has written? Can't they remake? Can't they rewrite the ending of the story? Can't they write that, of course, they were coming in, but the hare woke up on time and both of them ended the game together? Can't you write that? Can't the students write that? Yes, of course, because you have given them a scope to reimagine the ending of the story. So, working continuously. So, this is what is going to be the aspect of when we talk of HOTS. And this was an explanation through a very small example. While we are working as teachers, we are continuously thinking of the psychomotor, cognitive, and affective domains. When we are building in the questions or the learning outcomes, like we had discussed, it is not only the knowledge level, that is the cognitive level, it is also the activities coming together, making some design, making some plan, writing it well, maybe making cutouts of those animals of the jungle, and they may make a role play for that. That's where psychomotor domain comes in. And while you are touching the empathy zone, is this good? Is this bad? Is pride good? Is it good to be humble? These type of things are actually parts that touch the affective domain. So, learning outcomes in your lesson plans while you are building, even if it is for HOTS, higher order thinking skills, a large part of it has to come touching all the three domains that we have already discussed. Okay, understanding, analysis, application, and evaluation will come from the knowledge aspect, while receiving and responding, valuing, and organizing and characterizing will come from your heart domain, that is the empathy or affective domain. While for the psychomotor domain or the hand domain will be guided response, it will be the mechanism, and it will be the adaptation that will come in your lesson plan. These type of things will come together in your lesson plan to make a proper learning outcome. Now, if you take this activity only, just look at the underlined words over here. Discuss why the tortoise won the race and how the hare's attitude contributed to his loss. This is the activity that the students have to compare and contrast. Task 2, creative writing. You are giving them to rewrite the ending of the story. Okay, so thinking out of the box. Task 3, moral evaluation. Write a short essay or participate in a discussion on how the moral of the story, slow and steady wins the race, applies to real life situation that they have experienced. So you have decided as a teacher that character analysis, creative writing, and moral evaluation will be the three aspects that you are going to bring in classroom activities or learning activities. Now, as a teacher, the biggest part is while you correct the notebooks and while you do the assessments. So now you can see we have created a rubric based on this. And why I'm showing all these things to you is because later on we are going to create one while I'll give you time, so that we can understand how you are able to absorb it. See, when it comes to character analysis, if you see the first row, character analysis, and there are 4 levels: emerging, developing, proficient, and exceptional. When you go to the last right hand side, emerging, the child, for character analysis, the child is struggling to identify the character traits. Little or no explanation, the child couldn't write well. In that case, the child is at level 1. So you have to work a lot on these kind of students for explanation part. They are not trying able to comprehend. Maybe they are able to think in their mother tongue, but when it comes to writing or when it comes to communication, that's where you have to support the child. Now come to level 2, developing. Identifies basic trait of character but is not able to explain. So comprehension is becoming, thought and words are not connecting. So how are you going to build that is your duty right now. Third, proficient, analyzes key traits of both the character and explains the outcome correctly. And the fourth, that is an exceptionally good student, provides deep insights into both characters, identifies subtle traits, explains how these traits lead to an outcome. So, what we have done right now is taken only one skill that you are going to assess, that is character analysis. And you have seen your students, or you have bucketed your students in these 4 headings: emerging, developing, proficient, and exceptional. So there are 2 activities that a teacher has to do here. First, what are you going to assess? Second, how are you going to assess? This is a rubric. Like every time when you give your student very good, they must have achieved a level. That is why you give very good. Some students you give excellent, they have surpassed that level. Some students you write needs improvement, NI. Why do you write that? Because what you expected the child could not bring in the writing, right? That's the reason why you have written NI, needs improvement. So you have in your mind created a rubric. All the time the rubric may not be written, but when you are starting with implementation of HOTS, this has to be a formulated rubric. What are the things you are going to assess? I'm repeatedly telling this. What are the skills that you are going to assess? Character analysis, creative writing, moral evaluation. And how are you going to assess? What are the levels? What is emerging? What is developing? What is proficient? What is exceptional? This, you are the captain of the ship. You are going to decide. Nobody will decide for you, because you know your class the best. And my suggestion is you keep it throughout the year. The scale should remain same. Okay, and you see how the students are emerging gradually. Maybe in the beginning of the year there will be 10 students, there may be 10 students or 15 students who will be at the emerging level. You need to focus a lot on them, make a lot of remedial plans for them, make the exceptional and proficient students sit with the emerging students so that they can have peer coaching, peer instruction, remediation. You have to develop a lot of active learning strategies to uplift the weak students. By the end of the year, you will see most of the students have gone to proficient and developing. Very few students will be at the level 1. So this will be your plan that you have to develop. Okay. Now coming to the very important part is engagement. So I have brought in over here some of the activities that you can do, like story sequencing. You can read it from here, or you can take screenshots, but you should take a screenshot, because after this, when we do with our own activities, you will have to name, you have to decide which activity you will use for your class. So first is story sequencing. What if scenario, like one of our teachers just now, she was writing what if not. So can we give a question like that? Read a familiar story like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. What if Goldilocks found the bears at home? What if? What if? Now the mystery bag. In the mystery bag, there will be a lot of things. They have to pick up the activity and do. Pre-primary students will find it very interesting, like the Santa Claus's bag. A simple problem solving for your little babies, and then you can do a storytelling with a twist, like I just now said, that why should the hair always win, always lose for centuries? Why are you making it lose every time? So can we think of something else? Classifying objects, like for example, you give them a lot of things together, they separate them. We have always been doing this with different kinds of pulses in while you try to develop the motor skills in the students, based on color, based on size, based on the maybe the softness, the texture, pattern recognition. You can do a lot of role play with them. Role play brings in holistic development of the students. So these are for pre-primary. There can be many more. For primary also, you can have a mystery bag, design a playground, where you will be bringing in a lot of things. Like if they are designing a playground, they have always been seeing a playground in the television or maybe in the park adjacent. So uh, so the child knows the pros and the cons of a playground. The child may have some, likings and dislikings for a particular playground that they see in the TV. So when they will design their own playground, they will not bring all those things that he doesn't like or she doesn't like. Debate club, it brings in a lot of, builds in a lot of communication skills, creative thinking skill. They're always thinking and trying to do the, maintain a decorum and write, share the views. Create your own ending, this is very strong. You are giving autonomy to the students to write it on their own. They can also have math puzzle and classroom discussion on real world situation. What is happening around, this is important. Now, coming to the secondary, fifth grade onwards, these are Socratic seminars where you keep on asking them and giving them scaffolds. Design thinking project, you just give them a problem and tell, now you think and come to a solution approach. Debate challenges, cross disciplinary projects. While you bring science and geography together, while you bring maths and geography together, you bring maths and history together. While the main topics of the content creation may be history and English, but while the child is coming to present, remember, you are building in the 4 C's of 21st century learning skills. Moving ahead, you will have concept mapping, inquiry based learning, historical events, and a lot more. You can see over here. Please take screenshot of this. These are some, like I'm always telling, these are some. You as teachers, you as educators, you will have a lot more of pedagogies, but these are certainly the pedagogies which are not the, which are little refined, which are pedagogies with a twist. So if I say think, pair, and share, can I say think, pair, and debate? Okay, so I'm giving a chance to a particular group of students to debate with the other group of students who have come with a completely different conclusion. So maybe while you are doing HOTS, you don't write TPS, think, pair, share. You will write TPD, think, pair, and debate. That becomes your higher level classroom activity. So I'll wait because you have heard a lot from me. Where hair will win. Yes, some teacher has shared over here. We have the 21st century story of hare and the tortoise, where the hare wins. I know, I have read this story. And somebody in between, while I was speaking to you, had written, can we say that the hare did not sleep at all? Every time the hare sleeps, it becomes a wrong, message goes that when you become proud, you do this and you do that. Why to bring in the concept of pride is something one of our teachers was suggesting. So, can we ask them to write very simple stories with a twist? So, till now, how do you feel it is? May I get to understand from the responses or from the emojis that are down? Yeah, so that we proceed after this. Can I get a few thumbs up or emojis or yes, you're able to? Is it clear? Are you able to understand? I'll just wait for a minute to understand. Yes. You can just give me thumbs ups. Thank you so much. Okay, so now starts your activity time because I was talking a lot. So you will be given 10 minutes for this activity. What is the activity? I'll be reading out a story very fast. This story will be on your screen. You can take a screenshot of that. I'll share with you a Padlet link, and in that Padlet link, you will have to write the answer of the question that will be there in the Padlet, and you have to submit. And after you submit or share the responses, I am going to take from you an understanding of whether it is right or whether it is not. How can we improve? This is how we are going to progress. This is the story. Please take a screenshot. One day, a mighty lion, after hunting his prey and eating his fill, lay down to rest under a tree. A little mouse, scurrying around in search of food, accidentally ran over the lion's nose, waking him up. The lion, with a swift movement, caught the mouse in his powerful paw. The mouse, trembling with fear, pleaded for his life. Please let me go, and I promise I'll help you one day. The mouse squeaked. The lion, amused at the idea that a tiny creature like a mouse could ever help him, decided to be merciful and release the mouse. This line is important, okay? A few days later, the lion was caught in a hunter's net. He struggled to break free, but he could not, but couldn't hear. Hearing the lion's roar, the mouse rushed to the scene. With his sharp teeth, the mouse gnawed through the ropes and set the lion free. You laughed at an idea that I could help you, said the mouse. But now you see that even a small friend can be a great ally. The lion, grateful for the mouse's help, acknowledged that kindness and cooperation often come from unexpected sources. So I think you all know this story. This is again related to one of the famous folks, and I would like to share 1 minute the Padlet link with you. If you have missed any of the, just give me a moment, teachers. I'm sharing the link of the Padlet over here. Come to the chat box, please. Okay. And I'll keep this screen in front of you. Those who wish to, they can use this to scan as well. And I'll be sharing the screen of the Padlet. We'll get to see the answers and the responses that come. So while you create the learning outcomes, that is an expectation from the Padlet, please use these words for analyze and evaluate that are there. I'll bring to you the question. The Padlet I'll share. Okay. Now the question that is in front of you is, I think you all can see. This is our Padlet, and create one learning outcome from analyze and evaluate level. One learning outcome, either from analyze level or from evaluate level. And I am creating and I'm using this. I want you to use these words for from Bloom's cognitive level for analyze and evaluate. I'm keeping this screen shared so that it becomes easy for you while you write. You can see the words over here for analyze and evaluate. Use these words. This will be of great help to you. Analyze and evaluate. If someone is willing to write more, they can create for create level as well. But it's only one, any one, either the analyze or the evaluate. Teachers, please don't write it in the chat box. Please go to the Padlet. You can use the Padlet link. I'm sharing the Padlet link in the chat box. Please click on that, and you have to create one learning outcomes. You don't have to write, analyze, or create. You have to create one learning outcome. Like, for example, compare and contrast the behavior of the lion and the mouse. Or you can relate the situation to mine not working. Okay. See, I'm sharing with you the Padlet link once again. Go to the chat box and click onto the Padlet. Teachers, you have to write one learning outcome. Create one learning outcome. Love and kindness are never wasted. You have to create one learning outcome, teachers. So you have to use the words that I had shared with you. Bloom's taxonomy action words. You have to use those words and you have to create the learning outcomes. Students will be able to differentiate the qualities between the lion and the mouse. Excellent. This is what I had actually wanted. If you can see here, gratitude towards the lion. So you can write over there that, critic on the gratitude. Critic on the gratitude that the lion had towards the mouse. This is what you can write. After the story, students will come out. Students will come to know that the courtesy to poor people. So you can ask them to reframe. You can ask the students to reframe the new ending, an ending for the story. This is what you can do. This what is coming up on the Padlet are actually simple words, but when we see learning outcomes, real world application, students will evaluate the effectiveness of, yes, this is what you can write. Like, for example, over here you can see this big one that is written down at the down. Yeah, students will be able to analyze the key difference between renewable and non-renewable energy sources and evaluate their impact on the environment. Okay. Students will be able to understand that they should show respect to others and learn gratitude. Yes, these are all coming from the affective domain. Kindness always turns into happiness. So students will be able to judge the impact of or judge the relation between being kind or importance of empathy in our lives. Learners will be able to relate. Excellent. Very nice. So at least I'm thankful that you all are trying to write in the Padlet. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll come back to the content once again. Okay. Teachers, we are coming back. Thanks a lot for sharing. So, what we had expected you and many of you have actually done, and we appreciate the efforts of all the teachers. You can see here, analyze and evaluate. And many of you are writing in the chat box also, analyze and evaluate. Below that, there are a lot of words that are given. When you get the post session, post webinar assignment, you will get these kind of words. And these words are to be used so that it becomes focused. We'll move ahead. Now, the question for the next thing is, first you have created the learning outcomes. Second is you have to create an activity. For if you want to teach the hare and the tortoise story, or if you want to, if you want to teach this lion and the mouse story, what is the action word, that activity that best fits to achieve these outcomes? What activity will you design? Will it be a debate? Will it be a role play? Will it be a small group strategy? Will it be writing the end of the story? Will it be a critical appreciation of the behavior? What are you going to do? And for that, you first see what action word have you selected for your learning outcome. Some of our teachers are writing role play, enacting, analysis, role play. Okay, I'll just help you scaffold a more. Yes, I think I'll take you back to the activities that may be very helpful for you. The activities that we have just, described. I'll just take you through, not discuss. So these are some of the activities: story sequencing, what if scenarios, mystery bag, simple problem solving, or storytelling with a twist. These are some of the activities. These are for primary. These are for secondary. You can select any and you can write. Creating a comic strip. Wow, with a wonderful picture discussion, what if, drama. Yes, debate challenge. Yes, wonderful. Very nice. Dramatization, what if questions, puppet show, what if sequences. Very nice. Thank you so much, teachers. So, moving ahead, we are having the third part. Now, see, these are the answers that are there from what all we have discussed till now, and many of you have written it. So, I have brought in the learning outcomes as well as the activities that you can design over here. Okay, you can just go through it. This is from your story, that is Lion's attitude changed through the story. First it was very proud and then it became humble, and for that you can have a reflective essay on that. Okay, they can write a reflective essay. Evaluate the ethical decisions, whether it was right for the lion to leave the mouse or whether it was right for the mouse to help the lion when in times of need. So they can have a debate on that. Imagine a different outcome. Imagining a different outcome, so the activity can be write an alternate version of the story. You can collect a moral to this, and they can bring in examples from history, literature, or any other subject from their own experience. This can be some of the learning outcomes and some of the learning activities. Thank you all for sharing. Now coming to, yes. Now, coming to our pre primary little babies, how are you going to introduce HOTS? HOTS may seem that, it's a very big concept, it's a very difficult concept. How can we go to the higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy with our little babies? No, it is not. So, when we think of higher order skills, it is not always writing. It can be fine motor skill development, it can be social interaction. School is a social setup where they come and they mingle. When they are at home, they don't get a chance to mingle. They don't get a chance to communicate. They don't get a chance to fight and to hug each other. So that's a social interaction. Language development. So when you are asking very simple questions to your tiny little ones, they will give you very simple answers. But ask them the questions that are aligned with the higher levels. Don't ask them, whom are we talking about? Are we talking about a goat and a lion? No. We are talking about a mouse and a lion. You are not going to ask them this question when you take them to horse. Hot's question, how did you feel about the lion? That can be one question. Was the lion happy when the mouse helped? Was the mouse scared when it was asking the lion to help? These kind of questions you can bring in the thought and then gradually increase the difficulty level of the question. Yes, our teacher has written we can ask open ended questions, encourage creative problem solving, and use what if scenarios. Excellent. It's there in the chat box, so we can do role play for different situation. We help them begin, analyze, evaluate, and create. Yes. Thank you so much. So this is what you can do with your pre-primary kids. However, when you do it, please be very careful with the learner profile and the learning profile. What type of child is that? Kinesthetic, auditory, reading, or visual? What kind of child is that? And it has to be age appropriate. For one pre-primary nursery child, please do not ask questions of grade 3 level. That's not going to bring in a success to your outcomes. Now, the second step that all of us need to follow, though we have written here pre-primary, it is for primary, secondary, pre-primary, 11, 12, whatever, which all classes. There will be levels of the performance for each criteria. First is level 1, difficult. That means need support. Level 2, approaching expectation. Somewhere they are there. Level 3, meets your expectation. And level 4, exceeds your expectation. They are excellent. So what can you do with these level 4 students? Can you make them group leaders for this level 1 and level 2? That can be one very good way of strategizing the remediation for level 1 and level 2. You can try that out. Well, level 4, one student becomes a group leader for level 1 and level 2. You bring the level 1 and level 2 students together, make one level 4 student their group leader, and think that that particular child of level 4 keeps on supporting level 1 and level 2. This can be one collaboration that you can bring in, which will impact the improvement of all your students. Now I'm bringing in a picture over here. Look at this picture. Some student has drawn. If you enlarge the picture, you get to see certain things which we generally don't see. Can you see the birds in the water along with the ducks? Can you see that? Yeah, you can see the fish and the birds together, right? You can see the trees almost going down. You can see the fish up on the water surface, which is not very scientific, but the child has drawn. You can see the coconut and the palm trees there inside the water, which is also not very normal for us, right? But this is a child's imagination. You cannot ignore this. But you see that there is a lot of creativity in the child, lot of colors in the mind, lot of ideas, lot of things. And many of you must have got this from where I have got this image. I've got this image from one of the very famous stories, which shows that there will be a rainbow of students in your class. Tare Zameen Pe is the name of the story, but many of you must have seen. This is what the plethora of students in a class is. It will be, right? Yes, teachers. It was shown in Tare Zameen Par. How can you assist this student? How can you help these students? You can't say that this is wrong. You have to gradually bring in the mind that if he is drawing the birds in the water along with the fish, has he seen a bird like a stork or a heron which has gone over there in the water? Has he seen some cranes? Has he not observed the birds flying in the sky? You have to ask such questions to the child to understand what is he imagining, and bring a lot of questions to the child to scaffold. But please don't kill the creativity of the child and say that no, this is wrong. We can't say that, because you, as a teacher, you have given autonomies to all your students, that you write, you justify, you be a critic, you find an ending of your own. So this is the ending a child might find. So this is not wrong. So I know we all are, very supportive of our students, because we are the captain of the ship and we want the ship to sail the best. So scaffolding is where you have to bring in, and this will be an individual activity for the students. Now comes a very important question. What skills are you trying to see? When I had started the session, I had told that it is for you to see what skill you are going to see. Your students speak very well, but they can't think out of the box. Your students can think out of the box, but they cannot comprehend that in English. They cannot communicate that in English. What are you going to see in the child is what is, a big thought process, and it has to be aligned with the content that you are teaching. So the pre-primary teachers, the primary and the secondary teachers, think of any one skill that you would like to develop in the child when you are doing the story of the lion and the mouse. One skill that you want to develop in your class. think of your class right now, the class that you teach. LSRW, imagination, observation, critical thinking and imagination, concept mapping. Okay, concept mapping is an activity though, but you are trying to build in a lot of concept in the mind. Think out of the box. Okay, critical thinking, imagination, creativity, imagination, observation, LSRW, creative, problem solving. Problem solving is very generic and important. Critical thinking, mind mapping, cognitive development, imagination, reading and comprehension. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you are at least thinking at this level that I have created learning outcomes. I have thought of what activity I'm going to give. And I am also thinking of what skills am I going to tap now. Right? So we bring to you, see, for pre-primary, we are bringing to you this yellow line. Can you see? These are the 4 skills that we are trying to build in the students. For example, this is an example: fine motor skill, social interaction, language development, and creative expression. So when you build the rubric, you have to build from emerging, basic, proficient, advanced, or however you want to name it, however you want to categorize it. Whatever is going to be your strategy has to be there for your maybe a 6-month plan or maybe an annual plan. So this is how it is for a primary. Look at the skills that we are suggesting. Your choice can be very different. Okay, so reading comprehension, mathematical problem solving, writing skills, collaborative work, critical analysis, sorry, collaborative work. These are the 4 skills that we are looking at primary, the green column. Okay, now coming to secondary, critical analysis, argumentative writing. Why argumentative writing? We are bringing 2 aspects here: debate and creative writing. So argumentative writing. Then we have scientific research, right? Then we have mathematical reasoning and collaborative work. So these are certain things, that blue line, that is where we are trying to build in. I think you all have clicked the screenshots of this. This is for pre-primary, this is for primary, and this is for secondary, right? These 2 slides are for secondary. So with you, it will be shared. Now, I would like you to think about what you are going to, if you can, for any one of this, if you can share one line. For example, if you can see fine motor skills, right? Fine motor skills, we have made that as level 1 emerging, level 2 basic, level 3 proficient, and level 4 advanced. What are you going to see in any one skill? See, this is pre-primary, so the primary teachers and secondary teachers will have different skill sets. So if for those 4 skills you can share how you are going to make the rubric just for one skill. So level 1, put a dash and write. Level 2, put a dash and write. Level 3, put a dash and write. And level 4, put a dash and write. Think about it and write. Therefore, I have put in front of you this. Maybe I put the primary that is in between. It will be helpful. So, and write the answers in the chat box. We are waiting. You can follow the first column and the first row, and you can see the columns. That's your choice. Clay modeling is an activity, teacher. Clay modeling brings in a lot of fine detail. The question here is, how will you make the rubric? Like I have designed the rubric is level 1 emerging, struggles to identify main ideas and detail. However, the good you are as a teacher, the child is not able to understand. Ability to manipulate small object with control and precision. Okay. You have to make 4 levels, like how I have written. You have to write one. Level 1 is fine motor using clay modeling. Okay. Level 1 and 2, skimming and scanning. Okay. Writing skills. Like for example, if I tell reading comprehension, the child struggles to identify the words and the letters. You in the primary, you may have students who are not even able to identify the words. So that can be one. Second is The basic level, the child is not able, the student learner is not able to understand the basic ideas. Level 3, child is not able to comprehend and express. Number 4, in this way you have to write. First, identifying letters, yes. Writing skills, yes. Level 1, picture and letter sorting, okay, very nice. Level 1 is picture and letter sorting, yes. Playway method, art integrated, this is an activity. Playway method, identifying letter is level 1, some teacher is telling. Puzzle of sight words, this is again an activity. Level 1, not able to recite, yes, level 1 can be not able to recite. Students are not able to identify words, yes, that's level 1. Tracing cards, that is your activity. Identifying numbers, they are not able to identify numbers. I want to see certain things from the primary and secondary teachers also, and for other subjects also. Science and maths and history and geography and EVS. Able to read, cannot write. Reasoning, level 3 is reasoning. Recognition, level 3, the learner will be able to write the sequence of numbers, okay. Recognize sight words, what is this level? You are not mentioning the levels at places. Not able to appreciate the idea, reciprocate the idea, okay, comprehend the idea, reciprocate the idea. Yeah, nice. Yes. Identify the place values and numbers. Writing skills, observing words, spelling, sight words, approach, yes. So this is kind of going through a thought process, teachers. What we now have to do is to, make it implementable. You have to implement it in your classroom. So maybe your teacher leaders, your supervisors, Shalini ma'am, and rest of the leadership team who are sitting over here, we can share with them some thoughts in the form of what I have created and I have given it to Shalini ma'am. However, I would first like to show what after the sessions Shalini ma'am will be sharing with you and how you are going to go about with this. Yeah, I think you all can see your assignment that is there on the way. Can you all see? Can you just give me a thumbs up? Able to recite independently.
It's visible, Sudeepa.
Yeah. So developing HOTS through application. This is your post webinar assignment. See, you have to write down your name and you have to use these words: level 4, level 5, and level 6. 1, 2, 3, we have already completed. Today we completed 4, 5, and 6. You have to take a topic of your choice. Okay, so take any subject. Maybe you teach 2 or 3 subjects, but you have to take any one subject. Okay, that you are teaching in the class, anyone, maybe EVS, English, or whatever, history, geography, and write down the name of the topic and then create a learning outcome. Remember, you have to create the learning outcome by using these words. Okay, you have to use these words very specifically so that it becomes easy for. Oh, 1 second. Just give me a moment. See, these words are something that you need to use for the analyze, evaluate, and create. Students will be able to relate to the real life stories. Students will be able to correlate with the differences that had happened. Students will be able to conclude the ending of the story. In this is the way how you have to write the the learning outcomes. Also, you have to create it for the analyze and the evaluate level, and like you did it today in the session, you have to decide on an activity. What activity of higher order thinking skill development in the child are you going to keep for the students which is aligned with that particular topic. Because remember, when you are going to implement it in the classroom, then it has to be very relevant. Something that is not available in your classroom and you are thinking from that angle will not be very supportive for you. And what is the skill that you are trying to build in the students through that particular topic? So it's very simple, just 4 or 5 questions that you will require to build in through this, and this is a very simple assignment. It is just to bring in your thought processes aligned with what we have done today to the session. However, it was really wonderful that you all wrote so many answers. I'm really overwhelmed and really appreciate the spirit of the teachers. Yes. Shalini, over to you.
Like totally agree with you there, Sudeepa. The kind of interaction, the kind of responses that kept pouring in, it was raining with responses.
Yeah.
uh, I've been so fully engaged, and I have to thank you for it, because you kept the session so hands-on. And this topic has so much of relevance,
Yeah.
because considering what has been mentioned even in the NEP and the
Maybe.
NCF, that we need to get the students start moving away and very far away from just memorization,
Yeah.
rote memorization, which becomes meaningless unless the students are actually able to think beyond, right,
Yeah.
and start constructing knowledge on their own. So very well handled the entire session. Thanks a lot, Sudeepa. And
Shalini, I will like to mention one thing as an educator. When I had a shift from the traditional classroom to, I was in a school where we did not have the digital setup. So we did not have TV. TV came maybe after 10 years or 8 years of my work over there.
right,
So that switch, from creating a writing question and then showing it on the board in a digital classroom, creating activity based learning actually makes you very happy when you see your students are all occupied. And secondly, you are just a facilitator. So your workload kind of reduces. You
reduces.
make them think more. You work less just with the planning part. If you are ready, then
Right.
I think more or less most of it is done.
Again something to totally
Yeah.
agree with,
Yes,
that
yes.
a teacher's work happens almost 70%
Yes.
before the class starts. Once you
Yes.
are in the class, you have only 30% of things to do, because your planning has taken care of
Yes.
how the entire class works. Right, thank you very much,
Thank you so much.
teachers. Continue, being so involved in the learning process, because as a teacher we have to continue learning, right? And that's what you showed throughout the session today.
Hmm.
Right. And once again, before we close the session, a small reminder: you will receive a feedback link when the session closes. Kindly take out 5 minutes to fill up the responses to the feedback. And once you submit the feedback, you will receive your soft copy of the certificate, the participation certificate, in your email IDs. And Sudeepa has already shared and shown to you the post session task that she will be sharing with all of us. You will get it in your in the LMS, and we'll see how we can get it to you in any other manner. Kindly take out the time, and this is a part of the learning. This is a continuation of the session, that you create the questions as required in the questionnaire. So thank you once again. Please
Thank you
enjoy
so
the
much.
rest of the evening. Have a great weekend. See you all. Good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, teachers. Thank you, Shalini and team.
Thank you.